never seen 10,000 tapes in one store.
There's so much kid stuff.
And I can keep them for 3 evenings.
Ordinary video stores don't even come close to Blockbuster Video. We even have a 24-hour quick drop.
Wow. Wow.
What a difference. Blockbuster Video.
The favorite family video store from over there is now over here.
Hello, boys and girls. Welcome to our channel. My name is John, retro gaming enthusiast, and I'm here with Justin, resident streaming maestro. Together we make up Torchlit Gaming. Today we've got a special treat for you. We're going to do a little something that we like to call show and tell. For the format of today's show, Justin is going to start us off by showing an item that he's selected from his gaming collection. It could be anything at all, a game, book, magazine, poster, etc. He's going to talk a little bit about that item and what makes it interesting or nostalgic, and then I'll respond. Next, it'll be my turn to do the same thing, and we will rinse and repeat that process for about the next 60 minutes or so. Naturally, we might spend more time on some things than others, depending on what it is and our co-host's familiarity with that item or lack thereof. I want to briefly preface this episode by saying this. I'm not a game collector. I don't have thousands of games. I don't have shelving units that are loaded with games that I ordered online, like you might see from some content creators in the retro gaming space. Most of the things I'm going to show you guys today are games that I actually grew up playing, that I have nostalgia for, and that I'm fortunate enough to still have some of them around. So, Justin, first of all, thank you for setting up our stream today. Do you have any thoughts on that?
Oh yeah, totally. So I went through a period where I was collecting games a lot, and I would like go through thrift stores and stuff like that and collect games. But eventually, my house only has so much space, so I would trade things in to get the newest game. But now I am having a bit of nostalgia for these things, so I'm trying to rebuild my collection again. I have about 50 games at this point, mostly Switch. I have so many digital games though, but there's something nice about having things physically, as I think and this show and tell will get through. But yeah, I mean, like you said, I don't have walls of games or anything like that, but gaming's a huge part of my life. I mean, beyond what I'm going to show, I mean, you can see I have gaming stuff all around me at all points. So, it's one of those things.
So yeah, similar to this concept of show and tell that most of us learned in kindergarten, but with a gaming twist. And then, by the way, for this episode, we're each going to save something special for last. So without further ado, Justin, you can go ahead and kick us off.
Awesome. So the first thing I want to bring to the table is maybe a mildly controversial, but I think it's kind of cool. If you go on AliExpress or one of those reseller sites, you can actually find English translated carts. One of the ones that I wanted to get that wasn't released here at all was Mother 3. So this is a bootleg. I'm not even gonna lie about that. But it has the English translation on here, so you can just pop it in a Game Boy Advance and play it in English like we got it, or in some different timeline. But I got this, and to follow up with this, I support you know, what's his name? So I can't remember
Itoy?
Itoy, yeah. I bought some Hobonichi stuff, which they do a whole line of planners. And just as a little bonus here, I got Mother Post-it notes that have all the characters on them. I don't use these. I just have it in my collection. You can see the stuff there. And they also
That one
have,
said Mother 2.
yeah, this is from Mother 2.
That's
This
cool.
is, yeah, it's the Mother 2 collection. They also have this that goes in your planner. It can be used as a ruler, as the main cast on one side, and I can't remember the name of this town, but this town on the other side. Sunnyside? No, I don't remember. Or it's one of those. But yeah, so this is pretty cool. You can go to their website and they have all sorts of planners. I have a planner cover somewhere. I should have showed that, but very cool stuff. What you got for
So I,
us?
I gotta say on Mother 3 that I really think that uh, little cartridge you held up is the best game that I've played on Game Boy Advance, and there's a lot of good ones on Game Boy Advance, but to me that's the best one. Yes,
Hmm.
had to play it any way I can because it is not official. That's I think that's there's probably no game that has more like fan outcry for the game to be officially released. Nothing that I can think of. Um, I'm sure you're aware of starmen.net,
Oh yeah.
and it's a huge gaming website. It's been around for a really long time. They're basically like a cult following from the Mother series.
Hmm.
Um, I know they've even gone so far as to try to make a fan-made Mother 4.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
Um,
You're right. Yeah.
and there's actually you can go on YouTube and see like a really cool video, like a trailer for Mother 4, and it's even like I think it's 3D,
Mm.
but like it's amazing. And there's like some scenes from Mother 3 in that. It's really amazing how much work they've put into that. But yeah, the Mother community on starmen.net is like so dedicated and devoted to that series. And
Yeah,
yeah, to me, it's the best game on Game Boy Advance, in my
easily.
opinion.
Hmm.
Um, I just remember like when I was playing that game, like at the start of the game, there's like a whole sound test, and you can test all the songs, but only the ones you've actually like encountered in the game.
Right.
And then it fills in as the game goes on. But like I would remember just like listening to the music and just that was relaxing to me.
On top
But
of that, uh, since you brought up Starman, there's actually I think it's every year. Maybe I don't remember how often it is, but they also do this thing on YouTube called Mother Direct, where they basically take like fan games, fan projects, things like that, and they put it in a Nintendo Direct style presentation where they show off all these things. And they just had one a few weeks ago, I think. And one of the things they were announcing was Mother Encore, I believe it's called, where they basically take Earthbound Beginnings and make it 16-bit with some of the quality of life improvements that Earthbound had versus Earthbound Beginnings or whatever, Mother One. And so that's pretty cool. And then there's like all sorts of different fan-made projects that either are based on Earthbound and Mother and all that, or it's inspired by. So like you can see, it's pretty cool. I mean, but the thing is, where I think they kind of go overboard is they actually they make it like 3 hours long or something crazy like that. And it's just like, okay, that's cool. I mean, the reason Nintendo Directs work is because they're like 45 minutes tops, like, but it's still cool to see the passion of fans for Mother and everything. And, that the game that barely sold, like when I bought Earthbound, back in the day, well, my parents bought Earthbound. It was actually in the clearance rack for $20 for the whole thing. My grandmother got it
that's
for me.
crazy.
Yeah, and it was on clearance because nobody bought it. And I regret I actually gave my copy of Earthbound to a friend because I was leaving Florida and I was like, hey, it's cool, no problem. But I kept the strategy guide and I actually wound up selling the strategy guide a few years ago when I moved in this house. And it was like I sold it for like $80 and it wasn't even in the greatest condition. But it's just crazy, like I can only imagine how much that stuff is worth today. Like, it's madness. But yeah. Oh, and one other thing I was going to show on top of that to kind of tie everything together. This isn't Earthbound or Mother related, but it is Game Boy Advance related and DS related. And for whatever reason, I still have my DS Rumble pack. Um,
Nice.
I I don't know if people remember this, but they tried to like have all sorts of peripherals for the DS, and these would go in the Game Boy Advance slot to like give them additional functionality. So this would add Rumble to the DS. There was one for Guitar Hero, so you could play Guitar Hero through the Game Boy Advance, and it would be I think the game was actually a DS game, but then like the guitar part where you actually play the guitar, that was through the Game Boy Advance connection. It's kind of neat in my opinion that they were able to, utilize the Game Boy Advance slot. Of course, I think it was the DSi that removed the Game Boy Advance slot, and so this wouldn't be compatible with it. I'm pretty sure DS Lite did. Yeah, it stuck out. But yeah, you could use those. But I'm always a fan of like Nintendo's wacky way of like expanding their different consoles to keep the lifespan going. We've talked about the Satellaview before. We talked about, Famicom Disk System and all that stuff. And, it's just cool that they had the foresight to think about things like that. And even like the Nintendo 64 disk drive, like just trying to keep things going. But, I have a little piece of that here. And I don't know what I'm going to do with it. I just kind of have it. It's whatever.
Nice little relic, little
Yeah.
novelty. All right. Well, the first thing I want to show this is something that we talked about in our first podcast. We had a conversation about what got you into gaming.
Mhm.
So I'm going to show Final Fantasy VII.
Nice.
Glare there, but greatest. This is the greatest hits version, as you can see. Final Fantasy VII. It's not the game that got me into gaming necessarily, but it's one that definitely expanded my horizons. So I'm gonna open this up and actually have some of these things that I'll be showing. I might not have the disc, but I actually have. There's disc one, and here's the booklet. Um, and then flipping over, you got actually do have all three of the discs, disc two
Nice.
and three. I think there's like a cool picture in there of Sephiroth when you take out the third disc. Um, but yeah, let's see the first disc here. That's just a picture of Aerith
With the high wind.
or Eris. Like I think doesn't this game call her Eris, and then
Hmm.
Rebirth and all the new games call her Aerith. So I think I'm going to say Aerith for the rest of my life after playing Remake and Rebirth. But yeah,
Yeah.
on the back, at the back, it just says game fan. Like this is what people were saying about the game at the time. It says quite possibly the greatest game ever made by Game Fan Magazine. Um, Game Pro Magazine, which I used to subscribe to, they said it towers over the competition in terms of graphics, sound, story, and playability. There you can see it got the teen rating, but also want to look at the booklet because games actually came with pretty significant booklets. As you can see, it's actually got quite a bit.
Everything.
Um,
Everything.
so there's some interesting things like the first page it just shows you like Midgar, um, pictures of the characters like Garrett, Cloud, Aerith, Red, Tifa, Sid, so on and so on. Like Sephiroth, it says uh, his Sephiroth file is sealed. It says Genova on there.
I never realized that. You're right. Yeah, that's funny.
Yeah.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Go back a page. It's still
Control.
it's the original controller, not the DualShock. Did you notice that?
Yep. That's funny. I wouldn't
Yeah.
have caught that, but you're right. Yep,
That
you're right.
should
It
that
doesn't
that
have
sh
no analog sticks,
and that shows how
which is
early this game came out in the PlayStation's lifespan. It was like probably, well, I think PlayStation came out in 94 or something like that. So
yeah. And then according to the back, it says 97. But yeah, you're right. They're using an old picture of a controller, like the first model of the controller. Kate Sith, Golden Corral or Golden, not Golden Corral, Gold
Gold
Saucer.
Sauce.
Sorry.
Yeah. No, you're good.
Uh,
Fun fact, not to interrupt, but a fun fact about that. So, all my network devices in my house, I named them after Final Fantasy locations. So, my server for like all my media stuff, I call it Gold Saucer because it's like my entertainment server. And
you
then
could
like,
call your kitchen Golden Corral,
that's right. I named my main computer that I use Midgar for obvious reasons. And
like the hub.
that's, yeah. So That's cool.
There's some of the vehicles in all their polygonal glory.
Tiny Bronco. What was the submarine called? Did it have a name?
Uh, I can't remember off the top of my head. I have to
I
look that one up.
I don't think it did.
Um,
I
here's
could
some
be
of
wrong.
the interesting things that I like to go back to is like I don't remember this, but it says it's an official PlayStation strategy guide called Game Brain. Here it is, Game Brain. For $12.98.
By
It includes
MTV?
yeah, it says it includes Final Fantasy VII and other great games. Uh,
Huh, that's
and
weird.
then yeah, it says MTV, 60 minutes long. It says call 1-800 number or visit your local home video retailer to order it.
Home video
Yeah, and it says
retailer.
MTV shows you how to master the newest PlayStation games with walkthroughs, maps, and so on and so on. Um, so here's something cool though. You get this far, and there's literally a mini strategy guide in the booklet
Hmm.
with a whole. It's got its own table of contents presented by Brady Games. So Brady Games made a lot of strategy guides. We'll probably show some of those at some point.
Uh,
Um,
I don't think I have any on hand right now, but yeah. What's
this,
crazy? What's crazy is I'm pretty confident the whole reason that's in there is because before Final Fantasy VII, JRPGs were kind of a niche market. Like, yes, people played Final Fantasy on Super Nintendo and all that jazz, but when Final Fantasy VII was coming out, they were trying to hit a larger, more mainstream market, and they succeeded. I mean, let's just be real. And they also put like millions of dollars into their advertising budget. But I think that's one of the reasons they put that mini strategy guide in there is to like help people not used to JRPGs get into it. Now, some might argue that, you know, maybe that's true because I had Final Fantasy II for Super Nintendo. Now it's Final Fantasy IV, but they had a strategy guide in the back of Final Fantasy II, and I'm pretty sure for the same reason. Like they would do that where, it would they would try to help people get into RPGs basically. But anyway, as an aside.
Yeah, and then of course there was like the whole Final Fantasy Mystic Quest was like the entry level for
Yep.
us in the West who weren't used to hard games, and
Right.
we could God forbid we play Mario 2 Lost Levels because we
Right.
would never get past the first world. But this one is honestly Final Fantasy VII was probably like it was probably the hardest game for a lot of us who were growing up in the 90s. Like it's a lot harder than anything we played on 16-bit, that's for sure. So, and
Hmm.
it's a long game, all 3 discs. But yeah, there's
Hmm.
like a warning here in the end. It's like that this information is gonna like give you an advantage, and if you don't want that advantage, then don't read any further. Um, Right, it tells you to try to do it on your own, but like it'll show you maps of the screens in the game, and it'll show you
Hmm.
like where the items are, like marked with an A and a B, like where's the
Oh
items.
yeah, 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 yeah. That's cool.
Like this one does the same thing. It shows you like where you can find the potions and
Hmm.
where the save point is. And it even goes to the first boss battle. Like it shows you the guard scorpion boss and like what tips and tricks work on it. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and once you've beaten the guard scorpion, it says congratulations on your first successful mission, but you're just getting started. And then like order the guide from Brady Games, only $14.99. And
Oh.
of course, there was no website. It doesn't show you a website. It just says call toll free or visit your local book or game retailer. No website provided. That's just And then probably another cool thing here at the end is you've got these pages here coming soon from Squaresoft. Remember, this is not Square Enix yet. There you
Right.
go. There's the Brady Games. I knew Brady Games was going to make an appearance here before long.
I figured it's the
So
best time to drop it since we're
you're
talking
right.
about it.
It is. There's Bushido Blade. It calls it the most innovative sword fighting game ever
Oh,
created.
love that game. Have you played Bushido Blade? I think I asked you this
I
before, but
have, but it's been a long time. And then Final Fantasy Tactics there.
one of my favorite games of all
But
time.
wait, there's more. at
Saga
the end,
Frontier.
Saga Frontier.
Very
What is
misunderstood
it?
game.
An impressive role-playing adventure where 7 journeys become one.
Eight.
Interestingly enough, I remember playing Saga Frontier and Final Fantasy VII at your house. That's the first time I played Final Fantasy VII was at your house, probably
Yep.
a really long time ago. But
And here we are, like we were like 14 at the time, I think, and now I'm almost 40. So it's like it's so funny how like, we're sitting here like reminiscing about, oh yeah, that's right. And we would like stay up late. A pizza is
like
probably
all
ordered.
literally pulling all-nighters.
Switching off, I think we switched off a few
So
times.
while we're on Final Fantasy VII, I know this is getting extended, but while we're on Final Fantasy VII, I had a couple other things I wanted to show, which is here's one. I like the game so much. I had the Final Fantasy VII original soundtrack.
Dope.
Um, I think I might be missing something. It comes with this booklet here. I think I'm missing one of the discs, but I got disc 1, disc 2,
Who
and
produced
I
that?
have disc 3, but I'm not sure. It looks like there probably is a disc 4. I'm sure it's around somewhere. Um, then you have this book here, which has some pictures,
Yeah,
the
some
same
of the
picture
art.
of Barry that's in the disc, but some of the more iconic pictures from the game,
Hmm.
Red and Tifa. That's kind of cool.
Hmm. What company produced that?
I will find out. There's a couple character portraits,
That's
multiple
awesome.
ones. Yep. Vincent, Kate, and Yuffie. And at the end, you got Barrett there with Marlene. Let's see. I'm trying to find out who produced it. Only thing that's on the back is this logo. I'm not sure what that is, but that's the logo on the back.
Hmm.
Sorry, I'm getting bad glare, but
No, you're good. Yeah, I don't know. That's interesting. The
um,
reason I ask is because I think I mentioned this in that soundtrack article I posted, but Ever Anime was a big one for Square. That is dope. For like Square music back in the day. That's very nice. That's awesome. Where'd you get those?
so these were a gift for my birthday that someone got me. I've got some figures. These are like very like you can see the texture. They're like polygon
That's very
styled.
cool.
Um, they kind of remind me of like the Fort Condor
Yeah.
series if you
Hmm.
played when you played Rebirth.
So cool.
But yeah, little toys here.
Do you
And
have the whole set?
and I think there might be more.
Huh. That's so
So
cool.
yeah,
That's so cool.
but yeah, that's what my FF7 some of my FF7 stuff that I wanted to show there.
That's so cool, dude.
But yeah, it's major crossroads for me in gaming. Once I crossed over that 16-bit into the world of disc-based games, there's just a whole new world.
Hmm. Yep. And yeah, I think it's awesome that we have that core memory of like playing Final Fantasy VII as kids, and like I think we played quite a few. I think Chrono Cross we might have played. I'm trying to
Yep.
remember.
Um,
I'm gonna have to
Chrono
find those.
Cross, Saga Frontier, I think a little bit. I think a lot of games we were just like popping them in and we're gonna discover it like a little
Hmm.
bit and
Hmm. Legend of
and
Mana, maybe.
maybe that's a possibility.
I think I recall because I think I'm trying to remember. It's been so long. That Sephiroth figure is
What
so
you got
dope.
for us next?
What's up?
What else you got for us?
Oh, right. So to mix it up a little bit, I'm going to. Okay, so one of the big games for the 360 for me back in the day was Dead Rising. I thought it was one of the best zombie games at the time for sure because mostly because of like the scope of it. I remember being in I actually went to college for game design and development uh like right a little bit after high school. I dropped out, but whatever. And my friend and I at the time we had to like basically what pitch a game to the class as like part of the project. And the one that we and him and I were discussing were like, hey, we want to make a zombie game, but we don't want to make it like open world. We want it to be like closed in where you can like have tons and tons of zombies and blah 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 blah. But of course, I think PlayStation 2, maybe Xbox 360 was on the way at the time, and we were like, yeah, we should do that. But then, it was just a project, so it didn't matter. Cut to not too long after that, Dead Rising came out and was basically everything we discussed. And so I pre-ordered it, and I was supposed to get a shirt, and I didn't. I was kind of pissed about it, but whatever. GameStop being GameStop. But what I did get was this cool little pamphlet, uh, where it imitates a mall pamphlet basically, so you can like get directions to this mall where the address is in game and all that stuff. And I just thought it's a cool little collectible because it like it talks about the game and then it gives you an entire map of the mall and it's like built like a mall pamphlet. And I just think this is like the coolest.
Can you show the front cover of that again?
Yeah,
Because the funny thing to me, well, except for the MSRB rating and the Capcom, like you would not know that that's from a game. Just if you pick that up somewhere.
right, exactly. That's why I love this
It's
thing
crazy.
because it's like just look at that. It like tells you all the stores in the mall. Of course, it has like shots of the different places, and it has
I
all the
wonder if
different.
people, I wonder if people picked that up and like thought it was a real place
Maybe it's possible until
without
they
like
open that
really,
part.
yeah, without like really studying the whole thing.
Now, I have a lot of nostalgia for Dead Rising, mostly because um, it was I was between jobs. It's like right after I left Blockbuster, but right before I got the job I was in for like 15 years. In that lull before I switched, I was unemployed for like I don't know, like 5 or 6 months, and I played this game uh, an unreasonable amount of time. And one of my proudest achievements is the one where you have to basically kill the entire town population for the achievement. And it's ridiculous to get that achievement because you have to basically, okay, thanks, iPhone. Basically, you have to you have to do this specific thing where you basically take a car and rotate over and over and over and over again to rack up enough kills because in that game you only have like 72 hours to beat the game or else whatever. So in order to not run out of time, you would have to go through this very specific route, and it literally took me like 9 or 10 hours to do that shit. And and once that achievement popped, I was like, I turned it off, and I was like, I'm done for a while. Like it's takes so long, dude. And but I love that game. They had a remake recently, for PS5, I think, and Xbox Series X and all that. But I hope Nintendo Switch 2 gets it. That'd be cool. I mean, I'd buy it on Nintendo Switch 2 in a heartbeat. That's one thing is like I'm really hesitant to buy like some newer games because so many are rumored to be coming to Nintendo Switch 2 that you know I'd rather just wait for that and play it portably. So anyway, but yeah, that's
So for
my
the thing that took you like 7 or 8 hours, you were just grinding for an achievement, or
hmm that's it.
nice. That
Killing
sounds like something.
zombie after
That sounds
zombie
like something I've more
after
times than I
zombie
care to. I
zombie.
did play one of the. I played one of the Dead Risings, and I think it was like a demo. And like
hmm
if after a certain amount of time, like the game just stops and tells you to buy it. But it was pretty fun. I mean, that's the game where like zombies are like completely surrounding you, right?
hmm
And you just
Yep.
have to like you beat them back.
Yeah, and
It's
you
interesting to me because, like, you see a lot of advertisements now for mobile games that have that exact same concept of like zombie hordes just like closing in on you. But didn't that kind of start with Dead Rising?
pretty much, in my opinion, I think it did. I mean, because before that it was like survival horror, like Resident Evil and blah 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 blah. But this game really tried to have the feel of like Dawn of the Dead and all that kind of stuff, where you just felt hopeless. And like I was gonna say, another part of it was the fact that like not only did you have a horde of zombies, but you also had survivors in the mix where you can like help people like escape, like because you would have a helicopter come in after the 72 hours, and the whole idea is you're a journalist and you're trying to figure out what happened in this town to kickstart the zombie apocalypse. And you know, on top of all that, there were bosses at different parts of the mall, and they were known as psychos because they're people that like mentally broke because of the zombie apocalypse. And they all have their like one was in the grocery store, it was like the general manager or whatever, and he was, you know, being a whatever. And if you go into like the um like because they did a really good job of like locking off parts of the mall until you like did certain things. And like if you go through what the hell would you call that? Like not atrium, but it's like a just an open like outside part. There'd be escaped convicts that were riding around in a Jeep, and you could get caught up in them and they would like shoot you. And if you were a lower level, you'd be shot to hell and be dead. But you could actually kill them and steal their Jeep and like ride around it. And it's awesome. And then like you had unlockable Mega Man outfits where you can like get I think you could get the Buster. Well, you could actually get the a toy of the Buster, the Mega Buster from Mega Man, and it would just like shoot out tennis balls, and you can actually like hit zombies with it. It's just ridiculous. And that game's so great. I love that whole series. I think the first and the second one are really where the series were the best. The third one's okay. The fourth one was a little. It wasn't as good, but I still liked it. But yeah, man, I can't recommend those games enough. Like, if you just want like to turn your brain off for a little while and just have like mindless fun, it's the way to go.
Definitely. All right, I am going to take us back to more 16-bit goodness here. So let me show this. This is a classic
Nice.
game console. This is not the HD game consoles that we have now that are like really popular, but this is an older version of that.
Mm-hmm.
The company is At Games. You see their stuff right there, At Games.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this Sega console, as you can see, it came with 80 built-in games.
Mm-hmm.
But that's kind of misleading. I'm going to explain why. Down here, and forgive me because I can't read this too well. My camera's reversed, but you got Streets of Rage 1, 2, and 3, Virtua Fighter, Sonic the Hedgehog, Sonic and Knuckles. Um, what is that last one? Sonic Spinball. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this one includes 2 wired controllers. Once, as I mentioned, it's not HD. This is just a standard definition.
Oh, it uses
And
AV cables or HDMI?
it uses component cables. Plug into your TV, plug and play.
Nice.
Um, 80 built-in games. One thing I like about this that's actually really cool is it's compatible with actual Genesis cartridges. So that gives you an idea of what time frame this is from. Like the modern SNES and NES Classic and Sega Genesis Classic, they don't have a cartridge slot where you can actually put the game, but this
Right.
actually has the cartridge slot. You can see it where
That's
you can put the
crazy.
game. Yeah, it's cool. And then here's some of the games, and once again, I can't read them too well. My camera's reversed here, but you can see some of the games that are there. Um,
Hmm.
this one, I mean, the Streets of Rage series, it's definitely iconic. It that took a major step up with Streets of Rage 2, and then Streets of Rage 3 is like super polished. So those are good games to have. It's got 3 Sonic games. Virtua Fighter, yeah, it's pretty cool too. to me, the thing that's interesting on this is they left out a lot of RPGs. They left out Phantasy Star. They left out Shining Force.
Not
But
cool.
some of the games that would have been my favorites on here is Alex Kidd. That's a pretty good game. It's like Sega's platformer. It's kind of, I don't know, it's a little dated. Altered Beast is like always one of my favorite games. Grew up playing that at a friend's house. And
Power up.
yeah, they have some kind of weaker games on here too, but Columns is okay. It's like the Tetris of the Genesis, the poor man's Tetris. Comic Zone is actually one of the better games on here. It's known for being really difficult, but it's really cool because it's got like hand drawn. It's like comic book style gameplay.
Yeah, that game's hard as hell too.
Yeah, it's got Dr. Robotnik's Mean Bean Machine, which is like Puyo Puyo or Kirby's Avalanche or any of those.
Yeah.
It's like the poor man's Puyo Puyo. You see a trend developing. It's got Echo the Dolphin, Echo 2, Echo Junior, eSWAT. eSWAT was one of my favorite games on here. It's like a arcade style game. It's almost like Altered Beast if Altered Beast was like a cyborg police officer, and you just keep powering up and trying to see what else do I like. Flicky, that's a good old arcade game. It has all three Golden Axe. So the three Golden Axe for Sega, those are pretty classic.
Yeah.
Shinobi 3, that's a really good one. Shinobi 3. Yeah, and then so when I said that it's kind of misleading that it has 80 games, is that if you look at these games on the bottom, they're just kind of like homebrew games.
Oh, that's funny.
These are just like the Snake game is on here. Like it's pretty much just like they padded it with a bunch of homebrews.
Yeah,
I mean
that's crazy.
it's still pretty cool overall. But yeah, once again, it's just standard definition. So I remember I don't know where I got this from, but I remember that there were different versions, and I went and looked it up. One of them was selling for like $100, but it's got it's got like red graphics instead of blue, like right here on the front, and it says it has more Sonic games. Actually, I have it pulled up. It has more Sonic and RPG games in the pack. So I guess they probably got feedback that there wasn't enough RPGs, and it also has Mortal Kombat 1, 2, and 3, which this does not have any of those, and it has pretty much all the Sonic games. And they made one of these for a Game Gear, and it was portable. So I actually have the console right here.
Wow, that's small
what
as
it looks
hell.
like. As small as hell. There's the cartridge slot. I found one of my controllers. The controllers are, I mean, they're very plasticky feeling. Like you can't see it, but they feel very, I don't know, lightweight. But the button pressing is, well, the D-pad is kind of, that D-pad's not too good. The buttons press nicely. That D-pad is just really, too much wiggle. But yeah, you got two controllers here, and I just wish I could have got the other one that had the other RPGs and Mortal Kombat. Also, I believe, oh yeah, here we go. Also have the manual that came with it.
Nice.
Classic game console by At Games instruction manual. It says you can find accessories for the console on their website. I don't know. It'd be interesting to go and see if that's still a real website. I haven't heard about At Games in a long time. But yeah, when you open this up, it actually, it shows you the controller, how to connect it to a TV, and it tells you about every single game in here. It tells you, if there's a certain game you want to know about, it tells you about it, background, what all the buttons do.
That's pretty cool.
Fine. Yeah, like Altered Beast, it tells you, about Athena and Zeus and the god of the underworld, and so you got that.
Now
it shows you like a little. Yeah, go ahead.
Here's a funny thing. they're able to cram the entire game and what you can do in it in a paragraph this big. Could you imagine trying to like cram all the stuff that you have to do in a game today in a paragraph that big? Like,
Yeah, that's funny. And then this, you just get this tiny little thumbnail that's in black and white.
yeah.
Um, I mean, they tried, and then they even put like they call them arcade games, like the homebrews that I mentioned.
Hmm.
Like, I want to see what they say, like, and then like one of them is chess, and there's a whole long write up about how to play chess, like what's a all the pieces do. They give like they devote a whole page to chess.
Wow.
It's like you don't know how to play chess, like uh, but yeah, it even tells you like about the snake game, and there's funny enough, there's a game on it called Mr. Balls. I just noticed that now. I don't, but
Whatever
yeah.
works, I
So
guess.
yeah, but yeah, that's my at games Sega Genesis console, and who knows, this might even make another appearance later on in the video.
Oh, foreshadowing.
Oh, you know what? One more thing. I actually have the modern equivalent right here with me. It's never been opened. It's still in the box. Sega Genesis Mini. This is the HD one.
That's cool.
30th anniversary. This one has 40 games. So I guess they just said to heck with the fake arcade games, and it says it has 2 bonus
Two
titles.
bonus titles.
This one is a mini Genesis replica, ready to plug and play. 40 legendary games and 2 bonus titles. Oh, the bonus titles are apparently Darius
Hmm.
and the Genesis, the Sega version of Tetris.
Oh,
That's interesting.
that's interesting. Yeah.
But yeah,
Wow,
this
that's
one
cool.
this one definitely has better games. It's got Monster Warrior 4, which was, I think
The
that's
better one.
Monster World. I'm sorry, Monster World 4. If you've never played it, highly recommend. It's
That's the one with the girl in the
I,
front, right?
yes, it's got the girl on the front, the genie. I guess she looks like a genie to me. That's what I'm gonna call her. It's got Mega Man and the Wily Wars on Sega
Oh,
version.
yeah.
Fantasy Star 4, Earthworm Jim, Contra. So this one has Castlevania Bloodlines, Beyond Oasis.
Nice.
They still kept Altered Beast. They added Shining Force,
Ooh,
Street Fighter Special Championship Edition, Strider, uh, Mickey Mouse World of Illusion, Castle of Illusion, and Wonder Boy in Monster World. So they really nailed it with these games. These are like way more desirable Sega games, in
yeah,
my
I'll
opinion.
say. I would agree.
But yeah, thought I would show that off. And did you have any like Sega memories or anything, or you didn't really play too much Sega growing up, or?
Um, I just remember going back to our childhood, and I think you got me into Fantasy Star. I remember you were a big fan of Fantasy Star too. Um, and I still think about that every now and then. And one of my memories as a small child was my dad buying himself a Game Gear to play, and because he wanted something he could take with him on the go, and he let my cousin play it, and she took it into the bathroom and dropped it and broke it, and he never got another console after that again. The other quick memory I have is the Dreamcast. I love the Dreamcast. I got it when it was on clearance, and I played Phantasy Star Online religiously, and I got it during the summer, so I played Phantasy Star Online. I think I played it for like 3 or 4 days in a row without sleeping, or having very little sleep because I love that game so much. It was kind of a problem, and having access to the online and all that stuff, it was great. But that's my like I was really more into Dreamcast than anything else, and I got into older titles like Shining Force and Phantasy Star and all that stuff. But Dreamcast was where it really my Sega love was like, yeah, this is good. But
So did she drop the Game Gear on the floor, or did she drop it in the toilet?
it was on tile floor, so it just like
Oh wow,
boom.
that sucks.
Yeah,
I mean,
it
either
does
one
suck.
of those is a lose-lose situation, but that sucks.
Right.
I think the batteries were like it like really drained your battery,
I think it took
but
6.
it was big and chunky, and it's just I don't know. I think there's some good games on it though. Oddly enough, there's like one of the Shining Force games is on there.
Hmm.
I think there's a Panzer Dragoon game on there that never. There's a lot of games that never got translated, Japanese Game Gear games, and um,
Hmm.
they're
Uh,
worth a look. Fantasy Star.
that's
There's a little Fantasy Star game.
whole
It's
thing.
non-canon on there,
Yeah,
but yeah,
there's like 10 of them on there. And like each character have a side story or something. But
that's those are Sega CD,
are
I
they?
believe. They
You might be
have
right.
I believe they're Sega CD, but yeah, there is Final Fantasy like or Fantasy Star side stories for every single character, and it's like they're kind of like a dungeon crawler. Like you
Yeah.
just choose which direction, and they're very like old fashioned. I'll have to double check if they're from Game Gear or Sega
I
CD,
could have
but
sworn it was Game Gear, but you might be right. It might be Sega CD. They put crap out on, everywhere. Rent a Hero, that was out on like 3 different consoles. But anyway, yeah. Um, so trying to think. Uh, I didn't want to really show card games during this, but oh wait. Let me back up. I'll actually show 2 different things at once so we can. So going back to Fantasy Star Online real quick. I bought a magazine back in the day that had the full feature of Fantasy Star Online. It was like talking about it. And I still have my postcard from it. And I love this thing. And it's,
2001 is the answer.
yep. Yes, sir. And it's
That's
just a
cool.
cool, yeah, it's a cool little magazine
'Cause some
thing.
people played it on PC, right? Or was it? It wasn't only on Dreamcast, was it?
Originally it was, and then they ported it to PC later. I think with version 2 they might have. But yeah, this is a pretty cool little thing. And then anyway, like I was saying about the cards, I didn't want to show any card games, but I did want to show something unique uh card based. It is my collection of e-reader cards. I have a few of these, but I think this is the most interesting one. For those of you who don't know, e-reader was this device that for Game Boy Advance where you would plug it in and then you would scan these cards. Oh, there's these little dots on the bottom, and you would scan it, and you could put they did all sorts of stuff like Pokemon cards. They had where you could like get information like Pokedex information from it. They had where you could play Pokemon mini games. Um, this one actually has multiple. And the reason for that is each card is a piece of the game. So by scanning this card, top and bottom, you see it says 1 of 5. And then you would scan, it would say, please scan card 2. So then you would scan that. 3. Oh, that's 4. And wait. Oh, this one was 5. Sorry, the mirror's messing me up. Um, Wait, let me put these in order. There we go. So 1, and then 2, and then 3, and then 4, and then 5. And each card would have like a little bit of information about it, like, little tips and tricks while you're waiting for this game to load because it has to store all that in the RAM. And yeah, this didn't last that long in America at least. But it's still cool. It's kind of reminiscent of back in the day, at least when I was a kid. Um, we would have games on floppy disks and we'd have to put in one after another to install a game. Kind of similar thing. And I still think these are so cool, man. And people have recently, very recently, probably in the past 5 years, people have figured out how to hack these cards and for Pokemon specifically, because they had a few of these e-reader cards for events. I think the Azure Flute or one of the, I can't remember the exact one, or maybe it was the I think it was something from Ruby and Sapphire. You would get an e-reader card and scan it, and then it would give you access to an item to get a legendary Pokemon. Well, people figured out how to hack those and create their own events, and so they could do all sorts of stuff, and it's crazy to me. Animal Crossing had some where you could scan it to uh, get more, like you can get patterns, stuff that's like you just get on the internet now. Like you can just download Animal Crossing stuff, like New Horizons. You can just do all that. Give me like 20 seconds. I can grab those. I wasn't planning on showing them, but I might as well. So here's one. Uh,
Bill,
yeah, and I don't remember what this one does. I think this one lets you.
what are the passwords? What are
I
the
don't know.
passwords for?
No idea. Don't remember. This all worked in the original Animal Crossing game. That was originally for Nintendo 64 in Japan, but they ported it to GameCube for us, and they added the e-reader support and all that stuff. Um, in Japan for Animal Crossing, they actually had like three different releases, I think. They had the Nintendo 64 one, and then they ported it to GameCube, and then they created an e-reader uh, enhanced version that was basically a port of ours. So, whatever. And I highly recommend. There's a guy on YouTube that goes into like the in depth into Animal Crossing on GameCube and like all the crazy technical things about it because you could actually download or you could unlock original NES games. I think Ice Climber was one, and you can have those in your house and play them at any time. But there's one without a cartridge, and the idea was you would be able to get something from Nintendo and add it to it, and people have figured out how to hack those and put their own ROMs in it and stuff. But like that was kind of like a prototype of a Virtual Console before Virtual Console was the thing. And what's even funnier is one of the main emulators, NES emulators back in the day, I think it was INES maybe. Nintendo used that guy's code for the Animal Crossing NES games, and the headers are all the same or whatever. So I thought that was pretty interesting. Hang on, let me grab. Aha! Here's here's a bunch more.
You
Grab
got a
this room.
big old treasure chest over there.
Oh yeah, I got plenty of stuff. Um, here's another one. Most of the cards only had one stripe. That was to that was generally just a data card where you just have like it would just show something on screen for Game Boy Advance, and then once you turned it off, it was gone. I got Mr. Rossetti. I got Pierce. I got here's a Pokemon card, the only Pokemon card I have with
Shop.
e-reader. Yeah, and this one I think had a mini game where you could play as Machop. And then I got Game and Watch. They did some Game and Watch stuff.
That's
And
cool.
this is actually the full game because it didn't take any space. So you had the whole game on one card.
The
And
game's on
then
one screen, right?
yeah.
Yeah.
And then this is what I was talking about, the Animal Crossing patterns. So they have this Super Mario one, and then you would scan it at Able Sister Store. They had like a special kiosk and you scanned it and you'd get this design. So yeah, it's pretty cool. I mean, they're expensive. Oh, and the coolest thing I've ever seen for the e-reader is I wish I snatched it when I had the chance because it's expensive as fuck now. But there's a Super Mario a Mario Party e-reader game. It's like a board game with like cards and like a mat that you would like spread out and you would go around the board. But all the cards were e-reader cards. So like when you would go around, instead of playing a mini game on like a GameCube, you would scan the cards and play the mini game on the Game Boy Advance. And it was like the coolest idea that I've seen like utilize that technology. And it's like $150, $200 thing now, and I'm just like, God, I don't want to spend that much on that. But yeah, it's cool. I mean, if I had more money, I would be swimming in e-reader cards, but for now I got like 10. So, but that's all I've got right now.
Nice. All right, I'm gonna go back to I was just talking about Sega Genesis. I'm going back to Sega Genesis again. Um, so I want to show you some games that I found.
Oh, nice.
I had to I had to dust all this stuff off, by the way. Everything was covered in a layer of
Play Fighter,
dust.
nice.
Yep, this one is Clay Fighter, by Interplay,
Mm-hmm.
licensed by Sega. His name is Bad Mr. Frosty, by the way,
Mm-hmm.
and lightning fast gameplay. This was like
That's
a
debatable.
yeah, yeah, it was at the time. I mean, this is on blast processing after all.
That is true.
It does say, it says, "Let's kick some clay." This was always like kind of edgy, a little bit, but cartoony at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But a little bit more like attitude, I guess, than
Yeah.
most. Even though this game got released, like they did a newer version on N64 eventually, like Clay Fighter 63 and a third.
Oh
Remember
yeah,
that
yeah.
one?
Mm-hmm.
Um, but yeah, this one, I played this a lot when I was a kid. Obviously, it's a two-player fighting game.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the fun for me was just like figuring out all the moves. It wasn't as easy to like go online and look up moves
Yeah.
and stuff. But so when you open this, I actually have the manual for this game.
Nice.
And then you just pop this out, and there's the cartridge there.
Nice.
Um, we'll take a look at this manual and see if there's anything. See, this is from 1994.
Wow.
But yeah, it gets you a table of contents, tells you all about the game. It has a whole like backstory and everything. Can't remember, all the details of it, but it's kind of kooky. Like abandoned amusement park called Playland. And there's a mysterious purple meteor, which is what's in that picture right there.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's kind of like a Mortal Kombat type of idea, but it's like who's going to become the king of the circus.
Oh yeah.
Um, let's see if there's anything interesting in here. If it tells you special moves or anything. Yeah, it actually does show you. Like here's Bad Mr. Frosty, and there's his special moves, and it tells you how to do it, which is
Mm-hmm.
always nice.
Yeah.
Most fighting games now you just pause it, and there's a move list and stuff, and
Yeah.
some of it
Right.
you might not be able to do a lot of it, especially like if you play Killer Instinct, like you're not gonna be able to do a lot of those moves. They're really difficult.
Yeah.
Taffy, that guy's name is Taffy. Uh, this is funny. Like this guy's name is Tiny, but he's like super jacked. I guess that's the point. But uh, then my favorite character probably to play was the Blob,
Yeah.
and he could just like take the form of a boot, or he could take other forms too. Um, that's blue suede goo. It's like Elvis.
Yeah.
Uh, Ichabod Clay, another one of my favorites there.
Oh yeah, the jack-o'-lantern guy.
Yeah, I like the Headless Horseman. Uh, Helga Bonker. At the end of this game, you have an advertisement for Boogerman,
Oh yeah, I
another
remember that.
game, a pick and flick adventure.
Ugh.
That's another game that was on SNES and Sega at the time, and I definitely rented it at the time. And the toilet humor was like right up my alley, and probably still is. But yeah, that's Clay Fighter. I got a couple more Sega games on hand here. This one is Echo the Dolphin.
Mm-hmm.
I broke off like the little plastic tabs. I've broken them off, but they used to hang in retail,
Mm-hmm.
right there with a little hanging tab.
Yeah.
Um, I
That game was
believe
weird.
this game is super weird. It's very like atmospheric, and the music definitely adds a lot to like the foreboding nature of the game, I guess. You'd think a game about a dolphin would not be like as freaky, but it is. And I could be wrong on this, but I think this was before the ESRB.
It
Um,
was. Yeah.
this is from 1992, and I don't know what
Yep.
year ESRB was put into law, but as you can see, there is no rating or anything. There was on Play Fighter. Play Fighter's got a general audiences.
I think it was
This one does not
94. It must
Yeah,
have been
this one has
93,
none.
94. Yeah.
And this was a, believe this is a launch title. If it's not a launch title, it's pretty early
Well,
in the Genesis.
Genesis came out in 89, so it came out a little bit after.
Um, yeah, this game it says on the back, explore over 25 giant levels of solving puzzles. Um, this game, yeah, it gets really weird. Like you meet like giant blue whales and pterodactyls and
Aliens.
uh
Spoiler.
aliens. Yep. Um, and
And
it's a
that shit
very
was
difficult game.
scary.
Like if you make it to like the third or like the fourth level, good luck because it gets so ridiculously hard and you're constantly having to find air pockets or come up for air. If you don't, you're gonna run out of like Echo doesn't hold his breath and then you're gonna start dying. And it's always like anxiety inducing, like your breath is meter is running out, and then you start to be taking damage, and then your health meter is running out, and then you're dead before you know it. And you're having to do like escort missions, escorting other dolphins to like their pods or whatever. But yeah, there's Echo the Dolphin for Genesis. I don't think I beat the game legit, but back in the day, I had a huge password list. I don't know. I
Mm.
must have gone online. I probably went on GameFAQs and got the password list, but I would just like have fun with it. And since I couldn't beat that one level, like the escort level, I just kind of experimented with all the other levels on my own, and I got pretty far in the game, but from like start to finish is like good luck trying to do that.
Yeah.
And then we have Sonic the Hedgehog 3. This is my favorite out of those three games. Yeah, yeah, three. Uh, this is definitely my favorite, and this is the one I spent more time playing than the other two. Um, I had spent a lot of time playing Sonic 2, which I don't know where that went. I probably have it somewhere around, but I couldn't find it. I spent a lot of time on Sonic 2, but once it got to Sonic 3, it was like a whole new. This is like occupying all my time as a kid. There was a code from GamePro magazine. I think I got it from GamePro where they had like a bunch of codes in the back, and they had a debug mode. And
Hmm.
I can't tell you how much fun I had debugging this game and debugging Sonic 2. Like you literally get to cycle through all the sprites and assets in the game. It's
Yep.
probably the most fun debug mode in any game that I can think of because you can put rings anywhere you want. You
Yep.
can put enemies anywhere you want. You could terraform the whole level,
Yeah.
make your own levels, put your power ups anywhere, loop to loops. Like I could spend hours doing that as a kid. And then they had these little 3D special stages. Which if have you played Sonic Mania?
Oh yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, so you know all about those 3D special stages in Sonic
Hmm.
Mania. But yeah, this is where it all began. Like for those who have played Sonic Mania but haven't played this one, this is where it all started. Um, again, I don't have the manual. I don't know what happened to all my manuals, but I mentioned that uh, we might see this thing again. So here's my at games console. We're gonna see if this thing really works. Oh yeah, that's satisfying right there.
That's
That's
awesome.
satisfying. So yeah,
Very
just
cool.
need some component cables and
You're off to the races.
off to the races in standard definition, just like the good old days.
Yeah.
So that's all I got for this portion.
All
What you
right.
got for me?
So the last thing I'm going to show for this is going to be, so this will take a minute, but I wanted to show my Amano collection of the sky. I got this cheap as hell off Amazon. I think it's normally like I don't know, like an 80 or $90 set, something like that, something ridiculous, but I got it for $18, so I couldn't pass it on. I was like, dude, I'm getting that. What I'm even gonna even like argue. So it contains three books. It goes from Final Fantasy 1 to 10. Um, I actually took the books out here. So got the first one. Some are a little thicker than others based on where you're going. And I'm just going to give a quick little glimpse here. So this first book is all the NES Famicom games. It's 1 through 3, and it has like all of his. I might have to stand up for this because this is so.
That's awesome.
It has all his artwork. Your Beholder from D&D. Like a lot of the creatures from the original Final Fantasies, they literally ripped from Dungeons and Dragons.
Those don't even look like Final Fantasy. Those are kind of like dark, like something in, like you said, D&D, but it's still in that Amano style.
Yeah, I love Amano's artwork. He's one of my favorite illustrators for sure. Um, there's Chaos. There's some of the Fiends.
Awesome.
Then
And
you
you
got
go back to that one that was in color. Well, that one's in color too, but that first one you had showed is really, well, that one's cool too, but
yeah. What was it?
oh, that says from 87 to 90.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, and there's
oh, that's cool. Yeah, that one right there. That
yeah.
one really stands out a lot. That's the cover of one of the Final Fantasy games, is it not?
Yes, it's Final Fantasy One. That's the Warrior of Light,
Okay. Wow.
and that's the princess you save like right away. And then of course you got Final Fantasy Two, got Furion.
Yeah, that's cool. Those look really high quality.
Yeah, this is like one of my favorite coffee table book collections, honestly. Other
I
than
can see
like
why.
Ultimania and all that. Just all sorts of. They actually reused a lot of these designs throughout the
That
series.
almost looks like the thing.
Yeah, a little bit. Yeah,
And
zombie.
Marlboro.
Yeah. I think that's the pirate
Bomb.
captain. Yeah. Oh yeah,
A
bomb
bomb.
down there. Slime or whatever the hell they call it. Pudding.
A flan.
Plan. Yeah, that's another name for it. And then that's the. I actually have my mouse pad is this.
That's Final Fantasy 3.
Yeah.
Sweet.
Like it's so great, dude.
And that guy must have been just drawing all the time and painting and. Or do you know if those were just drawings or were they paintings?
I think it's both, honestly. His
That is
kid act. My favorite game of all time, Final Fantasy IV.
painting.
Kane and Cecil, Sid, Edward,
Rosa.
Rosa. Yeah.
The Spoony
Um.
Bard.
Oh, that's Kane as well, without the armor.
Gang.
Um. Oh, what I was going to say was his kid actually does artwork like him too. Uh, there's a series of arranged albums that Square puts out called SQ, and there's one called The Last SQ, and his kid does the artwork for it, and it looks pretty reminiscent. The King and Queen Evelyn, the I can't remember the sisters. I can't remember their name. Magus sisters, I think. They're also in Final Fantasy X. Like, look at that, dude.
It's like Palam and Porom.
Yeah. Final Fantasy V. That's a crazy looking chocobo. Like, I love this shit, dude. Just, uh, yeah. Gilgamesh, Go-Go.
Very nice.
Yeah. And Atmos, I think. I think. Can't remember. I know it's in Final Fantasy IX too. Classic Magitech armor with Terra riding it. Terra. Terra.
Like, imagine if you brought that to kindergarten and that was your show and tell book, like you would win
Yeah. Yeah.
that show and tell.
Which reminds me of a time when I was in like fourth or fifth grade and I brought in a UFO video that my dad had, and apparently it had like a scene where they dissect an alien. And when that when that scene came on, my teacher was like, "Okay, well that's enough for today. We're gonna skip this and go."
Like,
I'm just like, "Dang
nothing
it,
to see here.
Mog!" All the different Moogle, Kefka, General Leo, Rip, Terra in her Esper form,
Yeah, that's
Yamaro.
cool.
Yeah.
Tomorrow looks huge in that picture.
Yeah, Death
Is
Gaze.
Shadow in there? Did you already pass Shadow?
I'm sure he is. Let's see. Um, Yoshimaro. He's like nude. She's
Oh, is
don't
that
worry
Shadow?
about.
Who's that
Oh
guy
yeah,
next to General Leo?
no, that's not Shadow.
That's it.
That's a soldier.
Oh. I don't think you got to him yet.
I think he's back here actually, because all the cast is back here. So hang on, let me set through. Let's see. Oh, here we go. I think this is him. Yeah,
Oh, that's cool.
yeah.
Awesome.
Slit his mom's throat for a nickel. So cool.
Nowadays, there's all these like videos you can watch. Like, here's how to keep General Leo in your party and all, and like they're kind of like they do work, but it's not like totally canon.
Yeah. And then last but not least, 7 through 10. He actually did
So
do,
each of these is like individual books.
yeah, there's 3 total.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
For a second, I was thinking it was one, but wow, that's really cool.
Yeah, he did some artwork for the PlayStation era and PlayStation 2 era, but not really a lot. Um, that's why this book is thinner than the rest. And Squall and Cypher.
Nice.
That's awesome. The logos.
Guy's a visionary, you know.
Yeah. Yeah.
Stuff he
100.
sees, the stuff that he was seeing and putting on paper is just crazy
Yeah.
in the best way. Like, look at that huge airship. That's insane.
Yeah.
That is
And
just,
and like the detail of it.
yeah. Garnet.
Yep. Phoebe.
Vivi.
Uh, Steiner, I think was his name.
Yeah, that's a funny looking Steiner. Yeah. Kuja must be in there somewhere. Freya.
Yeah, correct.
Steiner.
Right.
Cameron.
Quinn. Quinna, I don't.
Kuja.
Yeah, there's Kuja. Emphasis on his cod piece. Clean. The troop.
Ron. Wow.
Tantalus, I think.
You know, it would be cool if they remade Final Fantasy IX like with those type of like that animation style.
Yeah. Apparently they're remaking 9, but they have, I mean,
Yeah,
it's been a rumor.
that's what I've heard. Garnet.
And then here's 10. Not a whole lot for 10, but they're still amazing. He actually travels. He goes to New York, Tokyo, I think LA, and he takes his artwork with him, and you can buy prints that he'll sign and stuff. But they're expensive. Oh, and in Magic the Gathering recently, he actually did one of the Planeswalkers, and it's a card you can get, but it's so expensive, dude. It's like a $2,000 card,
Nice.
but it's so awesome. But yeah, I love these books. I think they're pretty dope.
Nice.
But yeah,
All right, I'm gonna grab one more thing here, and you know, as like we said, we're gonna save something special for last. I'm gonna save like the extra special thing probably for a future video, since I'm sure we'll do this again.
yeah.
But I just want to show a couple things I got here. And I'm glad you left off with PlayStation 2 because this is a perfect segue. So here I have a we always talk about, I feel like every podcast we talk about Blockbuster Video.
We do, yeah.
So I found a proof that Blockbuster actually existed. Here's a game. So this was PS2 Dragon Quest VIII. It it was a 1 week rental, but of course you could buy. You had the option to buy.
Fun fact, that was the
Mhm.
store I worked at.
The store he worked at. Yeah, of
Mhm.
all places, the small world. Yeah, it just says Square Enix. So now they're Square Enix at this point. Everything,
Mhm.
most everything else we talked about up till now has just been SquareSoft. Um, but interestingly, like on the back, it actually tells you like a description of the game. It actually has Blockbuster game tips. Just ignore
Mhm.
all like the dirt, this like the dirt that's on here. But yeah, it has tips of how to play the game.
Mhm.
Um, like I
They did
wonder,
that.
maybe you know more, but like who actually typed that out? Like
Oh, I have no
in all
idea.
capital letters. Like I wonder
Uh,
how they did
we
that.
uh we would when we would print out those things, they would already be on there. So
Hmm. So somebody at corporate probably had like a description typed out.
if I had a copywriter, they would just write all that stuff for them. And
So
yeah,
interesting. So here's the game. Um,
very nice.
DQ8, PS2. Uh, I think this is the last game I was playing on my PS2 before it decided to stop working.
Wait, let me
I
see the
still,
game. Let me see the game again.
yeah.
Oh, that's crazy, dude. It doesn't have the Blockbuster sticker on the center of the disc
Nope, no Blockbuster sticker on this.
because they normally would put the sticker on the surface of the disc that would be like their security label. So that's crazy. It doesn't have one. And if you try to take it off, it would destroy the disc.
Interesting.
Hmm.
So something maybe they didn't do that when they were selling the game or something. I don't know.
Maybe,
But
but that's
something
weird.
interesting about this game. Well, I mentioned I still have my PS2, but it doesn't work. And I do want to get back to Dragon Quest VIII at some point. But
Hmm.
there's something else that's interesting about this. Do you remember that? Do you remember what Dragon Quest VIII came with?
Was it a Final Fantasy demo disc?
It was a Final Fantasy demo disc.
Oh, yeah,
Uh,
that's awesome.
Final
I thought
Fantasy
they would.
12,
I thought they would have thrown that out, honestly.
not for resale. I mean, you really think about this, that like Blockbuster could have just sold you the game without the demo disc that it came with. As
Hmm.
you can see, it says not for resale.
Yeah.
But the fact that they actually included the disc that the retail game came with,
Hmm.
that's really cool.
Yeah.
And I remember like when I picked this up, that was a huge reason why I picked this up is because I really wanted to get that preview of Final Fantasy 12.
Same.
And I mean, to me, that was a big selling point. Um, I did luckily I got to play the whole demo disc. I think I played the demo disc before I played Dragon Quest VIII, and I
Mm,
played it before my. I got to do everything you could do in the demo before the
good
PlayStation stopped
time.
working. But yeah, there's my little relic from Blockbuster Video. And on that note, I have a couple other interesting discs. I found this. This is the
Nice.
PlayStation 2 Online Startup Disc version 3. Never been opened. Um, but I'm gonna go ahead and open it. It's on. It says online broadband and dial-up, not for resale.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're gonna open this thing up and see what it
Oh, I
has in it.
lost all the resale value. No, all $12 of it.
But so this is the yeah. It's even sealed with tape and everything.
That's funny.
Uh, the online startup disc. It says PlayStation 2, the only place to play online. You've got Hot Shots Golf, Gran Turismo, 4, ATV Off Road Fury, SOCOM 2 Navy SEALs, Ratchet and Clank, Up Your Arsenal, MLB 2005, Killzone, Gretzky, NHL. Those were the games that you could play online.
Nice.
Um, so we'll pop that disc out here. And yeah, there it is in all its glory.
That's awesome.
The online startup disc. And it came with this booklet, which also has the same games here on the back. I guess it's just going to tell you how to set up online. It tells you there's a page for AOL dial-up users.
Does it say take the disc out and just give up?
Oh,
It's funny.
let's see what it says for broadband. Broadband users, attention AOL users. Here you go. It says, oh man, this is a blast from the past. We could really talk about this, but dial-up users. It
Yeah.
says it tells you what to do if you need to dial numbers to reach an outside line, or if you need to turn off call waiting, or it says I have voicemail on this phone line, and it's got all the ways of troubleshooting
That's
those
crazy.
existential problems of life that you would have as a dial-up user. Interesting.
Hmm.
So that's the startup disc, and then I have one more PlayStation 2 disc here.
Nice.
I don't know what's on this, but this is from PlayStation Magazine issue 51. So apparently I had got my hands on issue 51. I don't know what actually is on this, but it would be interesting I'll probably go look it up. And then it says PlayStation Underground, so I guess that was like a club or something, but
I have my
I'm
card
gonna have to
still
look.
somewhere.
Nice. I'm gonna have to look up and see what actually is on this disc, since I don't have a PS2 to play it in. But other than that, that's all the time that we have today. We did go a little bit long, but believe me, we'll be doing more of these episodes in the future. Guys, if you enjoy our content, please support us. Leave us a like, comment, subscribe to our channel. You can always watch our videos on YouTube and Substack. We're also going to be on Twitch, Instagram, TikTok, Blue Sky, and more. See you guys next time.
See ya.